Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside participating in nature connection. It's not always easy. So there are some barriers, unfortunately. And as a certified forest therapy guide, I am responsible for the physical, mental, and emotional safety of those I'm inviting to join me on a guided forest therapy walk. Now, as a practitioner myself, participating in forest bathing, that nature connection, with the amount of experience and exposure I have, it is easy for me to drop in and then to return pretty quickly. And I can deepen the experience with limited time and effort. However, I don't take it for granted. I am very aware that it's not as easy for people who don't have the practice. So the barriers might include, first and foremost, just the act of being in the natural world. For some people, it's not familiar, it's not comfortable. So there is a need to ease into it. So that's why there's a curriculum. That's why it takes a guide to sort of build the scaffolding and add to the, sorry, I'm swallowing mosquitoes, add to the experience. So it takes time, right? And there's a need for me to be aware of each individual's ability to be immersed. Other barriers might include temperature. So for me as a guide, if it's too cold, doesn't matter how much layering or how many hot shots in the toes or in the mitts, if any part of them is at all feeling uncomfortable due to the cold, they're not going to be able to be immersed. And I'm being challenged this morning because it's mid-June and the mosquitoes are ravenous. So while I'm trying to close my eyes, breathe, listen, smell, feel, I am surrounded and being attacked by biting insects. It doesn't matter how I cover up, what product I'm bringing with me, what product I'm putting on. At this time of year, it's just a question of numbers. There are so many. They are so ravenous. And at this time of day, when it's very still, I'm being swarmed. I cannot find the opportunity to deeply and completely immerse. I can't be present. All right. I am utterly focused on my own comfort. And in the heat of the day, I mean, when we get a humidex that's upper 30s Celsius, 40s, the people are not comfortable. It doesn't matter how much shade or access to cooling or your clothing. If it is oppressive and one is not able to simply breathe and smell, and if you feel like you can't get out of your own skin, then the experience will be less than. So there are some barriers. And as a guide, I need to be aware and I need to accommodate and I need to accept responsibility of timing, duration, exposure, access, all these things. So it's not always easy. And yeah, I've had opportunities to learn from that experience in either rescheduling or shorten the experience or reroute my intended path, my plan, right? So adapting to the lowest common denominator. If I've got a group and there's one person who's not as able to become immersed, to drop in, as it were, then the experience will be less than. And if I get a couple, then there's a need to have a courageous conversation about the intention and about the expectations and about the reality of our situation in nature. So it could be the cold, it could be the heat, right? It could be the insects at this time of year. And when I'm working in a public space, despite the need for me to focus on my group, there have been many, many opportunities for me to acknowledge and engage those who are not part of my group in the public. So that's imagine an actor on stage having to stop a dialogue and interact with the audience and then return to the focus of the rest of the actors on stage. It just it ruins the flow, all right, and it disrupts the loyalty and the focus and the intention. But that is the reality of working the public. So if I can, I like to have a little more control over access and control over the space that I am participating in and inviting others to participate. So that's why prior to, there is a, a lengthy document that I invite participants to read over, right? It's an acknowledgement of risk because, yeah, there are some risks. Despite my best efforts there could be incidents of slips, trips, and falls, infections due to bug bites and scrapes and cuts and scratches, wildlife, and of course the most dangerous creature in the forest, other people. All right, so these are all realities and they're all risks. And then there's just, of course, access, which is why I do a previous inspection of all the trails and areas that I want to visit prior to me bringing out guests. So there are some things that the guide is responsible for, which really helps participants drop into the experience. I can hold the vessel for timing, for safety, for the plan. And I need as much information as possible prior to so I can plan accordingly, right? So demographic, age, abilities, medical information, all of these things, and the honesty of that. And so I invite people to do maybe a little reading, to watch some videos, and to really understand as much about what it is they're signing up for, taking their time and their money to willingly engage in. And not everyone feels like they get out of it what it is I've invited them to participate in. And I do invite people to be very aware of following up with a survey afterwards, because for me, I recommend that people take 24 hours to really internalize the experience. So if I invite that survey, share with me what that was just like. And when we've just returned to the more than human world, it's too soon. All right, they can't speak intelligently and exceptionally about the entire process from prior to introduction to the scaffolding and the steps. So for me, the full experience is better surveyed and better spoken of about a day afterward, all right? Because the lasting effects of a deep nature connection, of complete immersion, those effects will last and they will improve your situation physically, mentally, emotionally throughout the rest of the day and overnight. And if done correctly, it's going to follow you for a couple of days afterwards, which is why I invite surveys to not take place immediately. And, you've been invited to fill out a survey before. Not everyone does it. I'm lucky if I get 10%. But that feedback is crucial for my growth and the success of future outings. So nature connection is not easy. There are some considerations around weather, timing, location, intention, right? And the honesty and the forgiveness about the experience, which is why for me, it's an everyday practice. And I learn from each and every opportunity to engage with nature. And I learn and then I adapt and I try to adopt strategies to make every outing more successful around my, first and foremost, my intention. What do I want out of it? And then how am I going to do my best to make sure that that is what I get out of it? So being prepared physically, mentally, and emotionally. And hey, it doesn't always land, but I make an effort. So I encourage people to do the same. If participating in a guided forest therapy experience is something that you have considered, do some reading, watch some videos, and talk and go to a guide's website, visit the associations and the websites, and read the reviews and the feedback from not only the organization that guide has been trained with, but read the feedback from participants on the guide themselves and the experience, because sometimes time of day, group size, location, time of year, all of these factors will contribute to the success of a deep nature connection. So if you're going to go outside, plan ahead, be prepared, be safe physically, mentally, emotionally, but there are some risks and there are plenty of benefits and rewards. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.